The Boondokl Bedtime Stories by Dr. Robert Lefevre, number 8. The next-door neighbour to the Boondokl household is Mrs. Arlette Black, who lives with her children, H and Kelly. H has a particular interest in cars. He has a fine collection of toy cars, but he especially likes big, real cars. When he gets the chance, he likes getting into them, or on top of them, or under them. He likes finding out how they work, and what hills they can climb, and how fast they can go. And he loves the noise they make. Vroom, vroom. Kelly likes books. She reads lots and lots, and she's halfway through writing one of her own. She also likes films and plays and musicals, and she absolutely loves dancing. When nothing else is happening, she lives in a beautiful world in her own imagination. Mrs. Black's husband had left her, which is sad because Mrs. Black is a nice lady, and she's had lots of difficulties already because she's been in a wheelchair since she had an accident soon after the children were born. I suppose it makes me like a human boondock, being like this on wheels, she said with her usual good humour. Mrs. Black, unlike Dr. Boondokl, does believe in Boondokl, because she herself had seen them. In fact, all three of the Boondokl who live in her house, with her children H and Kelly, had come out especially to see her when Mrs. Black came home from the hospital after her accident. When they saw her in a wheelchair, they thought she might be trying to become a boondock, which they thought was very nice of her. So they treat her as if she is the great boondock, and they're always very polite and kind to her. They make sure that they don't make too much of a mess in case it gets in the way when she wheels herself around. "Well, how are you?" asked Ali, the eldest Boondokl in the Black family. She's always asking about other people, even though she herself has had something wrong with her wheels on her back legs ever since she was born. So she can't skate like the other Boondokl. She has to walk. "I'm very well, thank you," said Mrs. Arlette Black. And then she said, "In my wheelchair, I am the great boondock. And you, Ali, with your feet without wheels, are a special human." This pleased Ali very much, and she smiled a happy smile. It's very different from Charlie's grin, which is something fearful to behold when he has a naughty thought. "Can our cousins Sam, Jemima, Chloe and Phoebe come to our house for the day?" asked Charlie, while putting on his best smile of all. "Yes, of course they can," said Mrs. Black pleasantly. "That's good," said Charlie, wickedly and with his fearful grin, "because they're coming already. They'll be here in a minute." "Charlie, you are naughty," said Alice, the youngest boondock in the Black household. She was quite shocked. "Yes," said Charlie, almost as if he was proud of it. H and Kelly had been collected by the school bus and would be away for all the day. This meant that the whole house would be taken over by Mrs. Black, the great boondock, and 8 normal-sized Boondokl, 5 from the Boondokl household and 3 from the Black household. They would probably make it into party time, even if it wasn't meant to be. Robin would like that. "Meow! Hiss!" Chloe, the smallest boondock, who's a bit nervous at the best of times, jumped up into the air and then ran to hide behind Sam, the eldest and strongest boondock. She couldn't skate because they were in the back garden of the Boondokl household, going across the lawn towards the hole in the fence at the bottom of the garden, where they could get through to the Black household. Wheels don't work on grass, so the Boondokl, who'd be faster than cats indoors, are very much slower in the garden. "Don't worry, Chloe," said Sam with a reassuring air of calm and responsibility. "I'll look after you." And you can be sure he will. Sam is very brave, and he'd fight a cat 2 or 3 times his size if that was necessary to protect Robin, Jemima and Phoebe, and especially Chloe, the smallest and most nervous boondock. But in fact it was Robin, with his computer skills, who was able to get the cat to leave them alone. He knew that this cat had a special computer chip in her skin, so that it can respond to messages if she ever gets lost. What Robin did through his own computer wizardry was to take it over, so that instead of the chip responding to a message from the vet's computer, Robin's own computer sent a message to the chip. Go home. The cat left the boondokl alone after that. That was very clever, Robin, said Phoebe, the gentle boondok, admiringly. You were great, said Jemima, who shares Henry Pootle's room with Robin, and including sharing his bad behaviour sometimes. And therefore she knew him well. But even though she herself is very clever, she's always amazed at the incredible things Robin does with his computer, writing programs to open doors or shoo away cats and things like that. My hero, said Chloe, the youngest and most nervous boondok, who'd had a bad fright when the cat had appeared. For my next trick, said Robin. I wouldn't go that far, Robin, said Sam, always concerned that Robin's computer might one day get them into as much trouble as it sometimes helped them to get out of. Anyway, the rest of their journey went all right. They stayed off the flower beds because they would get very muddy in there, and you never know what creatures might be hiding behind some of the big leaves of the plants and in the dark places underneath the bushes. Also, they were very careful not to go too near the pond, because boondokl don't swim very well. The wheels on their back legs tend to drag them down. Also, the wheels go rusty if they get wet. Eventually, they got to the shed where the Poodle children, Henry and Beatrice, keep some special games equipment like bats and balls and rackets and other things that are used in games that you play in the garden. The boondokl weren't very interested in these because there was no picker-sticks or other things that they could be used to make bridges and tunnels and runs. So they went past the shed, and they weren't at all tempted to stop for a bit to play a game or two. This was a good thing, because it's a long journey for the boondokl, going down to the bottom of the garden, through the hole in the fence, and then back up Mrs. Black's garden. And anyway, they wanted to see their cousins, Allie, Charlie, and Alice. They were looking forward to that. It was going to be a special day. To be continued.